A week or so ago, Sadiq Khan, the Labour Mayor of London, had an interview with Middle East Eye in which he argued that it's wrong that Muslims are abandoning the Labour Party because of Gaza. He's extremely wrong on this, and we'll unpack why in just a second. But first, let's just acknowledge that Sadiq Khan is someone who's achieved a lot in UK politics, and he is one of the most powerful, if not the most powerful, Muslim in British politics. We definitely don't agree with all of his politics, but his working class, minority, community come good story epitomises something that's to be respected. Let's actually listen to what he has to say.
I mean, surely you're meeting a lot of Muslim constituents these days, especially during Ramadan, and a lot of them are angry, a lot of them are upset at the Labour Party. What's your response to them?
Well, the choice of the general election, I mean, obviously I'm in a different position to the Labour Party nationally, but the choice of the general election is not between Keir Starmer as Prime Minister or somebody with a perfect policy on Palestine. The choice is Keir Starmer as Prime Minister or Rishi Sunak. That's the choice.
So folks, the chief positive attribute that Keir Starmer appears to have is that he's not a Tory, but that's such a terrible and deeply unsatisfactory reason for voting for someone. The argument is essentially, look, he's a genocide greenlighter, but he's not the biggest greenlighter. And the threat that Sadiq points to, that a vote for anyone but Labour is essentially going to let in Rishi Sunak, is genuinely a load of rubbish. All the polls are empathetic. Labour will win regardless. So Muslims are not going to decide the election, and Labour don't depend on us to win or lose. So Muslim voters are going to get the better genocide greenlighter anyways. So instead, with our votes, we'll send a message and we will organise for the next election after this. We want to influence the direction of policies, not the outcome of this election.
Well, let's deal with this. Muslims have been taken for granted. Which party allowed, for the first time ever, Muslim faith schools? It was the Conservative Party. It was the Labour Party. Which party brought in laws to protect discrimination against the followers of Islam? It was the Labour Party. Which party has supported those parts of our country which are the poorest and most deprived, where most Muslims live? It's the Labour Party.
Look at this complete straw man. The Labour Party are of course more pro-Muslim than the Tories. That's an extremely low bar as you're comparing Labour with a political party whose previous PMs referred to women in niqab as letterboxes, and whose former chairman, Lee Anderson, said Sadiq himself is under the thrall of Islamic extremists just weeks ago. And let's be honest, Labour's only pro-Muslim when it doesn't cost them anything politically. Michael Gove, the Tory Levelling Up Minister, recently launched a new definition of extremism. This was essentially a deeply anti-democratic and Islamophobic attack on MEND, MAB and others. What did Labour do? They also agreed to distance themselves from MEND. And remember, when Labour went to war in Iraq, Labour introduced the Prevent agenda. Labour Muslim Network themselves have done a full report on all the Islamophobia in the Labour Party. And sure, the first Muslim politicians did come from the Labour Party, but the Muslim vote in our community have moved beyond that now. We don't just want a seat at the table and to be the brown face around the cabinet table. We want actual policies.
We're months ahead of an election, a general election, and that could put Sir Keir Starmer into the position of Prime Minister. And a lot of people are watching the things that he says publicly, the things that he says on Israel, the things that he says on Gaza, as indications of what kind of Prime Minister he's going to be.
The NHS and education and jobs and the economy and growth and equalities laws and employment laws, all those things as well.
Unfortunately, this is just completely unacceptable from Sadiq Khan. This whataboutery is not the answer anymore. We have to have a red line. As people of ethics, and Gaza, for us, is a bright red line. This is not even an argument, folks. Just look at what Gaza looks like now. We're watching a genocide unfold, and we're expected to vote for a man who said that the Israelis have a right to self-defend while they're doing this. The only way back from greenlighting a genocide is to unreservedly apologize and then work proactively in the opposite direction. And even then, some may never forgive you. But if you don't even do that and try to release new weasel words to pretend you were always for a ceasefire, you will never get our votes. And to show the strength of that point, there have been many, many terrible people in charge of countries over history. Stalin, Pol Pot, Mao, Hitler, Gaddafi, and many more. But with each person, you could have made the argument, but actually, his economic policy is great and his health policy isn't too bad. Or, he's not as bad as the alternative though, is he? Of course, we're not comparing Starmer to Stalin and like for like, but the point should be clearly made. Certain immorality rises to such a level that it cannot be brushed over. You can't take one good point to overcome the 15 times a genocide was greenlighted. So what are we saying? Never vote for Labour at all? Of course not. There are good MPs in the Labour Party still, and we will be backing them. Why? Because of their concrete actions like backing a ceasefire, because of the policies they actively advocate for. So the Muslim vote does not advocate just blind rage. We just recognise that we as a community are a political negotiating table. Gone are the days where our community engage with Labour based purely on vibes and photo ops. We aren't going to be taken advantage of anymore. So Sadiq, I appreciate you have to say what you're saying, and I appreciate what you stand for, but your argument is poorly made and completely misses the temperature in the room. Your generation, we're all about being at the table. Our generation is more interested in setting the menu. Folks, to make sure this message reaches most broadly, please like this video and subscribe to the channel and share it with all your friends and family. Please also ensure you visit the Muslim Vote website and subscribe to our mailing list, and we'll keep you updated weekly on all the key political events and what it means to our community. Assalamu alaikum all, and thank you for watching.